Today, I'm joined by Jonah Cockshaw, founder of fitmedia, a marketing agency that helps fitness businesses owners generate more leads and revenue by developing a great offer, building a funnel around that great offer, and then filling the funnel with paid ads. Today, we're going to dive into the concept of marketing funnels in more detail, specifically why it's important for your fitness business and how to create one. So, Jonah, firstly, I speak to you a fair bit, so this is no real hello from me. But thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure. It's good to be here. Thank you for bringing me
I
on.
love it. No, you're welcome. I mean, let's start off from the beginning and let's talk about you and Fit Media and sort of how that all happened.
Yeah, so I suppose I started Fit Media now at the time of recording this episode around 5 years ago, which feels
Oh,
like a
wow.
very long time, to be honest. It's somewhere between 4 and 5 years at the time of recording this. I don't think we've got a formal birthday or anything, but yeah, around 4 or 5 years we've been doing this. As you said already, we're a marketing agency, so we provide a done-for-you marketing service for our clients. So I think that sets us apart a little bit in that there's lots of people, lots of companies that help fitness professionals grow their business. But I think only a relatively small number of them actually provide a done-for-you service as opposed to like coaching and mentorship. So yeah, so that's what we do. What got us started, to be honest, I'd lived my entire life prior to starting Fit Media in the gym, and I had a strong interest in business as well. So I loved fitness. I would train every day, every minute that I could, and my passion was really bodybuilding and fitness, and I could see myself pursuing a career in fitness. And I had a strong sort of entrepreneurial spirit inside of me, which I suppose became more consciously aware of whilst I was still in secondary school. And my initial plan was to become a personal trainer, open a gym. That made sense. And so that's what I was pursuing. And as I was spending more and more time, I suppose, familiarizing myself with the business of fitness, I was seeing that actually the most successful businesses in the fitness industry were those that had just really solid systems and strategies in place around both their sales and their marketing. And it was less, although obviously the service is just as important, and we talk about this all the time with our clients, like the service side of things is incredibly important. You could have great marketing and a crap service, and ultimately you're not going to get anywhere very quickly for very long. But what I think most fitness businesses lack is they do have a great service, but they lack on both the sales and the marketing side of things, and so they just struggle to get traction and grow beyond a certain ceiling, which is what we help our clients with ultimately. So I was seeing that back then, and I was like, actually, there's lots of fitness professionals out there running incredible businesses, and a lot of the time they're not really like any more qualified than lots of the personal trainers like we might know in person. Like the main thing that sets them apart, like successful, profitable fitness businesses, is solid strategies and systems around sales and marketing. So that's where I kind of pivoted. So I didn't pivot necessarily at this point, but I was like, okay, that's what I need to focus on then. And in spending so much more time focusing just on sales and marketing, I was thinking, actually, this could be something that I help other trainers and coaches with, and gyms potentially as well. And that's where Fit Media kind of stemmed from. Was me just really going down this rabbit hole of sales and marketing, specifically for fitness businesses, and deciding that actually I could start and scale my own business with this knowledge, or I could help other fitness businesses do the same thing. And so now I'm not a personal trainer. I haven't opened a gym because for the several years since then, I've been purely focused just on working with our amazing clients and helping them implement better systems and strategies for their personal training, online coaching, and gym businesses.
Yeah. I see the exact same thing as you, Jonah. I see hundreds or even thousands probably of personal trainers and gyms that I've spoken to over my time at being at my PT hub, and the one thing you notice is how they get that out to the people, and share that, because it is so important, especially in this day and age as well, like with social media and websites and the internet. it is so important. It's just funny that I've probably never heard that story in so much depth. Is probably what I've
Yeah.
how you got to this point. I mean, I already
Well,
knew sort of how it came about, but yeah, never to that depth.
yeah, no, that I wasn't sure because we've obviously known each other a while. I mean, my PT Hub has been a client of ours, in the
Yeah.
past, and we've traveled. We went to Barcelona. We went to
Mm,
done a bunch of stuff together.
yeah, that was a boozy
But
one.
yeah, but I wasn't sure. We won't talk about Barcelona.
No, we won't.
Um, but yeah, I wasn't sure how much of the background story you knew. I don't really think very many people know the background story. So that's probably perhaps the first time, or at least one of the first times that I've shared that so publicly, to be honest.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know,
Always knew it was media, but I just know how much media that you had background. But your first interest was fitness, which
yeah,
is I thought it was the other way around.
no, I'm a former member of the 200 kilo deadlift club, and and all this stuff. I think I've removed a lot of the posts now, but on my personal Instagram page, which I hardly use, so there's almost no point following me there. If you want to, then feel free. But my Instagram was just fitness training, like PRs in the gym and lifting heavy and getting big, and that's really what a lot of people say. A lot of people like really, people that I go
Mm,
to school with and things. That's what I was known for, is like bodybuilding and fitness and lifting heavy and being stronger than perhaps most of the people my age. And that was only born from me being so obsessed and passionate about fitness for so many years prior to that point.
yeah.
So
Who knew? Who
yeah,
knew?
who knew?
I mean, but going back slightly onto the topic, I got a bit off piece there, but
Right.
I mean, the whole sort of concept of this, and like, I think what a lot of people want to know from you and your experience
Mm,
is funneling
yeah.
essentially. And
Definitely.
when you say funnel, what do you mean by funnel, and like what are the different
Yeah.
areas of this?
Yeah. So I think the word funnel is one that is used a lot, and I would argue that is potentially overused. Um, Perhaps not necessarily overused, but overhyped. I think people use it a lot in a lot of different contexts, and it doesn't necessarily always make sense. It's not always very clear as to what like is meant when the term funnel is used.
Mm,
So my definition personally is that a funnel is essentially the process of warming up a prospect, a lead, a target audience, through from the point of just being cold and unaware and potentially uninterested in who you are and what you do, through to the point of actually being warm, interested, paying you money, paying for your service, and a very happy client or member. So
mm,
I think one misconception that people have around what a funnel um, is that a funnel is potentially just like a page on the website, or like a page
yeah,
on or a page on your website, and people think that that is a funnel because I think there's softwares like ClickFunnels and Lead Pages, and they're
yeah,
built around this idea of building funnels for your online business. And there's lots of wild and incredible success stories attached to this. Like you can make a seven-figure business using this funnel template on
I'm sold.
ClickFunnels. Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Don't do it. Don't do it. Um, so I think people often think that a funnel is like just just that landing page, or just this sort of template thing that they can plug into their business. But really, it's not. It's the whole process. It's zooming out of that. It's the whole process of taking someone, which could be me as a totally unaware, uninterested potential customer, through to the point of me then actually being a very interested, very keen paying customer in your business. So it's that whole process, it's that whole customer journey. It's the steps in between, and it's that process from moving someone from A to B, from cold to warm, from not paying you to paying you, essentially. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. It's not just a click of a button. Is
No, no, it's not.
there's loads of things that go into it, and I
Yeah,
mean, like what sort of things do go into it? Just like ones that you
sure.
put forward as suggestions, or things that you use with Fit Media.
Yeah, so I suppose it would be useful to break down the word funnel into the three distinct sort of, I suppose, sections, the three distinct sections of a funnel. So we'll get tactical and practical in a second, I think.
Yeah.
But if we stay sort of at a higher level for a minute, the three sections of a funnel is, first of all, just awareness. Then it is, I'll give you the common breakdown first, and I'll give you
Yeah.
my slightly tailored breakdown second. But generally speaking, it will be awareness, consideration, conversion. So it's taking people through this process of, first of all, becoming aware that you even exist. That's huge. It's fundamental. You need to do that first. Otherwise, you can't expect very many people to buy from you. Consideration is then, okay, now that I'm aware that you exist, I'm now considering maybe potentially working with you at some point in the future. And then it's conversion. That's the point at which that, I actually sign up as a paying customer, as a paying client, as a paying member. My slightly tailored version of this, and this is only through now, working with, I mean, goodness knows how many, fitness professionals and fitness business owners
Yeah.
over the last few years, but is awareness. So that's the same. Then it's nurturing. That's really key, in my opinion. I can talk about that very quickly. And then is conversion. That's still the same. So it's just tweaking that middle bit, and that's where what we do is slightly different. I suppose we put a bit more of an emphasis on, being much more proactive in that middle phase, rather than just letting you consider passively in the background. Maybe we never hear from you again, but you're in the consideration phase. And we're actually proactively, nurturing those relationships, and wanting to really move people through then to the conversion stage, the next step. So that's how you'd break down the term funnel and what the three stages are. Again, does that is that
No,
clear?
absolutely. So I just want to ask is that, so essentially what you're saying is that the middle bit is obviously the key focus, and like, but in my head, I'm thinking, okay, the first part of it is all about branding and image, because that's you just expressing your business. Like, that's just showing you what we have. The middle bit is where you guys do most of your magic and work there. And then the last bit is obviously the conversion, which is obviously taking payment, or the process of where they're going from then. So that's how, as a wider image, you break it down into funneling.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we help our clients with all three steps. We help our clients, build this funnel, fill the funnel, and we focus on all three areas. I think different depending on where you're at with your business right now. Just for the people listening, you'll likely find that if you are struggling to grow your business at the moment for any reason, you can likely attribute that struggle back to one of those three areas of your funnel. So either you're struggling to grow your business because just no one is aware of you. You could be struggling to grow your business despite people being aware of you, because you don't have any sort of system or strategy in place that can actually nurture these people that are becoming aware of you and warm them up further and move them towards the point of conversion sooner, more effectively. Or you might be struggling to grow your business because it's at the point of conversion that there's friction and there's work to be done. So, as I said, we help our clients with across the board, from beginning to end, and we help just build all the infrastructure, like the actual the tactical, practical stuff. We build stuff, the systems and everything that's required in their business. We do that, but then also it's really, really important to be clear on what the overarching strategy is and what it looks like from a bird's eye view, and that can help you pinpoint and identify bottlenecks in the business and see, actually, is it my nurturing that is a problem, or because people think, oh, I should have a Facebook group, I should start an email list and things like this, but actually those things are pointless if you're not already generating more awareness around who you are, what you do, and even at this stage, like positioning yourself in the market and why are you different, and your mission statement, having a niche sort of target audience. Things like this really help establish a strong footing in for the first stage of the funnel, where you're just wanting more people to become aware of you. You really need to focus on those things first, then the next things next, I suppose.
Yeah. No, it does make complete sense. With funneling, I think that's sort of, I think people tend to think that funneling is all online based, and that's just for online training and all that sort of stuff. But it's not, is it?
No.
You can do it for both in person and and online training. But obviously, the way that what's happened over the last 12 months, I think everyone I've spoken to thinks that online training is only going to go up
Yeah.
and up now. So funneling is so important to make sure that you've got that balance right, especially if you're doing that hybrid training as well, or you're looking to go to online training because you've been doing face to face and you're thinking, actually, no, it's probably better going to suit my business now. So have you seen a lot of that recently?
In terms of people wanting to get online or struggling to make that transition,
Well, bit of both, or just
Yeah.
finding a balance with the funnel, I suppose.
Yes, yeah. So I think, I mean, this last year, I think I listened to the previous podcast episode, and you said we couldn't have a podcast if we didn't mention the pandemic. I think,
There you go. I've snuck it in this time already, earlier than
absolutely.
usual.
So I think, if this last year has, pushed anything, it is more of an online world, more of an online,
Yeah,
reality for a lot of us, especially as business owners and even as consumers, purchasing products and services. People are potentially going to the shops less and are buying on
yeah,
Amazon. People, I think historically, I mean, you perhaps agree with this, and perhaps a lot of people listening will agree with this, but historically, hiring a personal trainer in the gym has always made the most sense. And
mm,
you expect to pay a certain amount per hour, you expect to have a certain number of sessions per week, and if you're making any kind of like actual investment into your own health and fitness, that is the go-to option. Whereas I think actually over the last year, online coaching has been pushed in front of more people as a new option, as something new and novel, and more people now are just more aware of online coaching and are even familiar with it, have signed up and benefited
mm,
from having an online coach over the last year,
yeah,
whilst the gyms have been closed. And for most people, obviously in the fitness space, we're all familiar with online coaching, but for consumers of potential online coaching services, I think a lot of people actually haven't been super familiar with what online coaching could consist of, what it looks like, or how it compares to in-person training. So I think online coaching certainly is going to be, I suppose, in a much stronger position. Not that it's a competition, but I think just with more people being aware now that online coaching even exists, more people I think will go to online coaching as more of a default option,
mm,
potentially instead of in-person training. So yeah, I think that might be a long-term shift too. To be honest,
yeah,
I do think
yeah.
that long-term now people will go to a in-person personal trainer potentially less, and potentially seek online coaching options more. So I
Mm.
think that's really interesting.
No,
But in terms of funneling, I think the funnel for like in-person training really isn't usually not too much more complex than you're a personal trainer, you work in a gym, the gym has members that go to that gym, and so through you working at that gym, those members can become aware of your existence. So that's like the awareness stage of the funnel. And through being at the gym at the same time as these members, being the personal trainer, you can strike up a conversation. You can chat to them, maybe a bit about their fitness goals. Maybe you can get them through to having some kind of like a mini consultation. Maybe as a trainer, you can help them on some kind of an exercise that they're struggling with, or teach them how to use a new bit of kit. And that would be then the nurturing stage. And then following that, if there's someone that's actually interested in personal training and they take a liking to you personally, they are then much more likely to follow through then with the conversion and actually pay you money for your personal training services. So I think the thing that a lot of people think when the word funnels is used is that it's some like new strategy that's never been heard of before, and it's like really sort of like
nah,
mystical and magical. But the reality is that
it's just been given a name.
it's just been given a name, absolutely. And I think it's not even been given a name recently. It's the term funnel has been around for a very long time, and certainly the
Mm.
concept of funneling has been around for even longer. So I think it's just as more and more people are taking their business online for the first time, that they're hearing terms like funnel, and they're learning more about potentially things like paid advertising, and they're thinking about these things for the first time, and they're all very new and novel. But the reality is we're playing on the same sort of human behavior and psychology, I suppose, to an extent. And in exactly the same way as we would do on the gym floor, except on the gym floor, we just don't think about it. We don't give it a name. We don't really attach any kind of strategy to it. But because the online world is, I suppose, so much more competitive than the gym floor, and even the gym floor can be pretty competitive if there's a lot of members and potentially a lot of other trainers. But because the online world is just that, but at a massive scale, suddenly you do have to think that much more seriously about your strategy and what you're doing and how you're positioning yourself and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, again, I hope that kind of makes sense. And just
No,
like
no,
thinking
no, no.
out loud.
It really does. It really does. And like, because my next question was going to be like, well, where do people start with funneling? And the description you just said is absolutely spot on for in person and like the whole idea of funneling and why. Because essentially, a funnel is just a big pool or like a big colander that goes into a small tube.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the basic concept of a funnel. And now when you
yeah,
say it like that, it's almost stupid because it makes so much sense.
yeah.
But where do the people start for like the online funneling side of things? Like where would they start?
Yeah. I would say and this is what we teach our clients, this is what we work on and help our clients with. We always start with understanding your target audience and being clear on your target audience. And the second thing is being clear on your offer. So another way of phrasing that would be, what problem do you solve for people? And what group of people do you solve that problem for? With clarity around those two things, you then put yourself in a great position to essentially position yourself better in the market. So again, there's like when we go on in the gym, on the gym floor, there might be like half a dozen other trainers, depending on the facility. It might be that it's like a big chain gym and there's like loads of trainers. It might be a smaller gym and there's only two or three. But again, there's not a whole lot of competition, and you don't really. I mean, even in the gym, even within a certain facility, there will be trainers with certain specialties and things like this, and that's actually really important. But when we go online, there's suddenly like thousands and millions of trainers around the world that someone could work with, and so what you want to do is, really everything you can to stand out from the crowd and give yourself the best chance possible of actually resonating with a particular group of people. So this is sort of less about funnels and more about like having a niche and a target audience. And I think a common misconception there is, well, if I have a niche and if I, do narrow down and focus just on one group of people, then surely I'm missing out on working with like everyone else. But which makes sense. It does make sense when you kind of think about it at just a surface level. But when you go a level deeper, you kind of then realize that actually, well, if I'm not focusing on just a target group of people, then what reason does anyone have to choose me as their trainer or their coach? I'm a trainer or I'm a trainer or a coach that is just as qualified as really 99% of all other trainers and coaches.
Oh, I completely agree with you. Like even the biggest trainers in the world with the millions and millions of followers is like, although they look like they're targeting to everyone and anyone, they probably deep down do have a bit of a niche that they go for, and like their marketing will slightly obscure towards a specific type of person or age range or whatever that might be.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned there like a couple of like demographic sort of factors. So gender, age range, potentially location, although in the online world that's less relevant now and on like like an increasing basis. It's location kind of doesn't matter so much, whereas previously you'd perhaps be limited to just the members that came to the gym, or maybe people within a mile radius of, or a certain number of mile radius of where you're located. But you mentioned there just a couple of demographic factors, which are important, and a lot of people do use those factors as to make up their sort of target market, or to determine their target market. But I think a really big one, and to take that a level deeper and to get even more niche actually quite quickly and more potently, if that's a word,
We'll
is,
pretend it is.
we'll pretend it is. If it's not, then just like bleep it out and people can guess what I just said. I think another thing that you can do to take it a level deeper is to actually identify a specific problem that you solve. So instead of working with men that are 30 years old in London, you help people eliminate stress through exercise and proper nutrition. And again, it's like taking it level deeper, that's even still, potentially a relatively broad example, but that is a very specific problem that will resonate with people that ultimately have that problem. And again, it could be you eliminate stress for men that are 30 years old in London. You can combine these things, but that then is your problem statement. That's how you help people, and into that you can on the back end of that, you can make it clear to people what kind of results they can expect from working with you, and that helps them a lot in deciding whether or not they should even think about working with you in the first place. So I feel like we've gone down a bit of a rabbit hole there, but
Always do. I always do.
That honestly is the first thing that we always spend time on with our clients first. We have clients that come to us that are already super clear on their offer, their audience. That's super. We can crack on, with our more hands-on work for them. But a lot of the time, people just don't have as much clarity as they probably need, to be honest. And it's always worth spending the time there first and foremost. Beyond that, I mean, if we're using our service as an example, no, I'm absolutely in no way trying to, sell ourselves or anything like that. But the way we structure our service is really built around the natural sort of progression of thoughts that you should be having. So offer an audience first, the problem you solve and who you solve the problem for. Is it then about building like infrastructure in your business, in the back end of your business, that will support your, I suppose, growth. So we want to be able to capture, nurture, and convert leads. And so that's where we build things like landing pages. That's where we set up things like Facebook groups. We set up email sequences and automations. We want to be optimizing our social media profiles. All of this sort of stuff then you go in a million different directions here. And I think this podcast could get very long, very complicated if we went into too much depth. Of course, if you do want to
and keep some trade secrets as well.
Absolutely. If you do want to go into some more depth with me, then feel free to reach out. But there's no obligation at all.
Amazing.
So, but that would be then the second thing. We then want to give people an easy sort of next step. So we've identified that we help people eliminate stress through exercise and nutrition. We are now, marketing ourselves on social media. We're putting out posts that are tailored to this problem that's resonating with this particular group of people. We're getting more and more regular and consistent with our posting. More and more people are starting to pay more attention to it, and more people are becoming more aware. We are increasing the levels of awareness that people have around us and our content and our service. In that, we want to be increasing how much people know, like, and trust us. That's really, really big. I think that was actually mentioned on the previous episode as well. We then want to give people a really easy way of essentially opting into some level of help from us. So that's where you see people with like free ebooks and resources and emailing lists and Facebook groups and all this sort of stuff. That is honestly really, really good. Even offering free sessions and consultations and things like this. You want to give people an easy way of opting into you as a coach and as a trainer, for them to say, yes, I resonate with who you are and what you do. I would like to benefit in some way, even on a small scale, from what you do, because I am the person that you help. I have that problem that you solve. And so offering, there's a million and one different examples of like lead magnets, an ebook, a free session, consultation, whatever. Ultimately, you want to be quite specific with what that thing is, because it wants to be in line ultimately with the actual service you sell. It wants to be kind of like a mini version of that helps them solve the same problem in a different way, something that doesn't take up too much of your time. Maybe it takes up a bit of your time, but you want to have something that's easy for people to opt into, that they can actually get value from, that isn't necessarily just, it could be an ebook, but you don't want to think, oh yeah, I'll just like throw together an ebook and, chuck it on my MailChimp and, that'll be the next step of my funnel. It could be, but you want to be intentional about it actually being really valuable. It wants to be something, you want it to be something that people actually want. And on the back end of that, you want to have a good strategy in place around actually nurturing those people. So it'll be easy to dish out your ebook to a million different people. It's much harder to then actually keep on top of and in front of those people with a really great sort of nurturing sequence and strategy and a continuous sort of drip feed of content and resources and value and this sort of stuff. That's only really accessible or seen by the people that have previously opted into and said, yes, I am that person, I have that problem that you solve. So again, does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, Jonah, you literally just answered my next question, which is amazing because I always understood the nurture side of like
Yeah.
face to face or in person training because it's the talking to, it's the helping, it's the putting yourself out there. But I think what a lot of people don't understand, and I mean, I still don't understand it to some extent, is the nurturing of someone, even if it's face to face, but just doing it online, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
just how do you nurture that person into a paying customer? Because I think a lot of
Sure.
people have the initial page and they think, right, that initial page is also the nurture. And then that should be straight into purchase or
Yeah.
investing into
Yeah.
me. But actually, there's this whole bit in the middle.
Yeah, there is this whole bit in the middle, and that this is what people skip over. A lot of people would say, okay, I've got an ebook, I have a newsletter, I have a free session or a consultation, I have something for free that in my mind is valuable and people will want. And you may well find that people do opt into that because if you're doing a good enough job on the front end with your content and social media and all this sort of stuff, then inevitably people that are interested in who you are and what you're doing will resonate with. And if you've got an easy next step, then awesome, like the ebook session, whatever. But this whole thing in the middle, there's really two strategies, two things that we focus on most, to be honest, that we find to be most effective. That is both email marketing, so really strong, well-crafted emails that can go out to people. I mean, everyone is subscribed to so many newsletters and things. What we don't want to do is just to be another random newsletter that someone has signed up to at some point in the past. We want to be something that is considered as valuable and sought after, and some, like, if it is emails that arrive like every day or a couple of times a week, it wants to be stuff that people actually look forward to, and it's ingrained in their minds that actually I benefit from receiving these emails. I continue to enjoy and benefit from Ryan's emails that come out to me every
Always.
2 or 3 times a week or however often. And so that's really keeping you on top of and in front of these people that at some point in the past have opted into Ryan's ecosystem. Essentially, they've resonated with who you are and how you help. So the second thing then is Facebook groups. I think Facebook groups are really, really powerful because everyone spends probably too much time on Facebook already. So setting up some kind of a closed community on Facebook makes a lot of sense, because it's just, you've got straight away a much higher chance of people actively checking in and seeing the content that's in the group. It's always going to be closed. It's like a closed off community. It's not just some random nonsense that people scroll past in their feed. Again, it's something that at some point they've specifically opted into. They have chosen to be in that group. And if you're able to, what you need to then do as a trainer and as a coach is just make sure that that group is a valuable place for them to be, and that again they're able to continue benefiting from being in that group. And as long as people continue to benefit from having opted into who you are and what you do, then over any length of time, it could be a month, it could be 6 months, it could be a week, it could be tomorrow, the people that opt in will, I suppose, in many ways move themselves through the funnel. People just want to bask in awe at your content and your resources, and if you're like client testimonials and case studies and transformations and videos that you film on certain topics and things like this, and you just want to continue establishing yourself as an authority and as a thought leader and as an expert at solving the particular problem that you solve for people. Which again might well be stress, through helping people eliminate stress in their life through training and nutrition, and really focusing on not just a surface level problem that is like being overweight, but eliminating the problem that led to people being overweight in the first place. If you can just continue to establish yourself as that expert and as that authority through like your Facebook group, then that's really, really super. And it actually does a lot of the selling for you down the line. It makes the conversion, the final step of the funnel being conversion, it makes that a lot easier, because people will be warming themselves up continuously every day as they're seeing more of your content and spending more time in front of you. So emails and Facebook groups are two big things there. I mean, you could go down the route of like paid advertising. We run paid ads for our clients, so you could apply a similar sort of thing to paid advertising. If someone has watched a certain percentage of a video on your Facebook page, you can set it up so that they then start seeing ads from you, and that could be targeting people that you consider to be in the middle of your funnel because they've watched a video, or because they engage with a certain amount of your content, or they've visited a certain page on your website, which could be a thank you page after they have opted into receiving your ebook, for example. So you could run ads and do a similar thing and keep yourself in front of people that way as well, and that can supplement your organic sort of email and Facebook group stuff. So again, you want to look at the full picture. Like, once someone has opted in, how can I keep myself in front of them, and how can I continue to establish myself as an expert and as an authority, whether you run paid ads or not. Essentially, like, I don't. A big thing for us is, yes, we run paid ads, but I don't want to preach that paid ads is the only way to do this. There's lots that you can do online and offline to nurture people.
I completely agree. And I think one of the things I think I'm going to let you keep your trade secrets here is that I think there's loads of different options. It's finding the right option for the right business. And also, I suppose there's that really fine line between what content you give for free and what content is paid for. And I suppose that you can only ever work that out with the actual business themselves to determine where it is that they're at and what they want to give.
I've got a thought on that, because I think that line in the sand is one that you can draw time and time again in your business and think, oh, should I be giving this away for free? Like, really? I know it's really valuable.
Yeah.
I think the reality is that if content is free and is valuable, then yes, people can benefit from that piece of content, and you ultimately want people to. However, when something is free, if I've consumed a piece of free content, if you, Ryan, have put something out really valuable, and I see that in my feed and I think, oh wow, that's actually awesome, that's enlightening, it's opened my eyes. A lot of the time, I'm actually quite unlikely to actually do anything about it, because it's a free piece of content. I see it, I think, oh, amazing, Ryan really knows his stuff. That has made a really powerful point, actually. That's really helped me out. A lot of people won't actually do anything about that. But what will happen is you will have planted the seed through that piece of content in their mind that you are an expert, you are an authority, and actually you are willing to give away information like this that you want people to benefit from, like you really, truly do. The people that then pay you are the people that are serious about implementing the things that the things that you teach, and your methods and your strategies for achieving certain results and solving problems and things like this. So honestly, like, really and truly, I wouldn't overthink that line in the sand too much, and I wouldn't draw too much of like a hard,
because it'd be a wavy line.
And
what it'll be.
And I think I'd almost encourage oversharing, to be honest, and I'd encourage pushing the boat out and giving away some of the good stuff, or even a lot of the good stuff, because you have to remember that although yes, you're giving it away and you're putting it out in the world, into the world, very, very, very few people are actually likely to do anything about it. Every time you share something that is actually seriously valuable, what it is doing is it's planting a seed in their mind, whereby you're again just planting yourself as an expert and as an authority and as someone that is willing and able to share this stuff that no one else does. And that's really crucial. People aren't going to take that and run and do amazing things necessarily on their own. They could, and fair enough, let them crack on, but the vast majority of people will really learn to pay attention to your content because it's actually valuable, because you actually care about helping people, and because you're willing to give away the good stuff. and that will be the thing that will fast track how interested people are in actually working with you. So I think that's a big thing, to be honest, from like a content marketing point of view. I wouldn't overthink the line in the sand. I wouldn't be stingy in terms of like what you know and how you can help people. I think people think about potentially not the wrong things, but think about things in potentially the wrong way sometimes, and are too cautious when it comes to sharing valuable pieces of content and being too stingy as to where they draw the line in the sand.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I think a lot of people will probably take that on board, listening to that and being like with those things they look at and they're like, oh, is that too much to give? Maybe not now. Maybe they'll go ahead and post that and hopefully that helps them out. Jonah, I'm actually going to pay you a compliment here, and I'm going to say, in your expert opinion, which I think is probably the first compliment I've ever complimented you on.
Yeah,
And
I think so.
and it's on a podcast, so you're welcome.
Yeah, a piece of history.
Evidence, I think, is the most important. I want to know your opinion on where everything's going. Like, where is this market and the fitness industry going, and how do people get ahead of the game?
Yeah, where is it going? That's a very good question. I think I touched on I think my thought a little bit earlier on. But I think that online coaching, the world of online fitness, as is the case, I think, with many other industries as well. I don't think the fitness industry is necessarily unique here, but I think the world of online coaching is going to be a much more permanent feature, I think, in the mind of consumers and people that benefit from personal training and online coaching. I think it's going to be more, I think it's going to become more of a go-to option for a lot of people. I think it's obviously more convenient, potentially more cost effective, rather than paying, £50 an hour for a session in the gym, and maybe you have 2 a month and you're paying £100 a month. Maybe you can actually spend £100 or £200 a month on an online coach, which I think is fairly typical. I know there's coaches that charge a lot more than that and have like these big sort of like thousands of pounds worth of packages and things that you can sign up to. But say like £100 to £200 a month is a typical online coach. And you get like constant everyday support and weekly check-ins and all this sort of stuff. And you have all your programming and nutrition. Potentially, it's just so much better value as well as more convenient. So I think now that over the last year, more people have been exposed to the option of online coaching. I do think it is, I was going to say it's here to stay. I think it's here to stay anyway. And it was already a really strong option. I just think now so many more people are aware of it for the first time and have become aware of it for the first time. I think it's going to become more of a default go-to option instead of in-person training. Now, it's not going to eliminate or wipe out in-person training. I just think that it's going to become a more convenient, potentially more cost-effective way of investing into your health and fitness as a consumer and as a client. I think the in-person personal training and the kind of personal training that we all know and love and are so familiar with, I think, to be honest, that will become slightly more of a premium. I think it's not going to be wiped out. It's not going to be, wiped from history. I think it's going to become more of a premium. I think people are going to be more willing to spend more money to work with trainers and coaches in real life as opposed to online, and maybe even in addition to online. I think the hybrid model, to be honest, is going to be a really strong move, and is even now a really strong move for a lot of trainers, being able to offer this hybrid model, and I suppose like a more premium tier to your online coaching, perhaps will be time spent in person as well. So for me personally, that's how I see it going. Might be totally wrong. Maybe in a year's time, everyone like online coaching doesn't exist in wisdom. But I don't see that being the case. I think now more people have been exposed to online coaching for the first time. And because it is generally more convenient and potentially a lot more cost effective in terms of the money spent versus the results that you can see.
More for both trainer and client as well.
For both trainer and client, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's the way that I see it going.
Amazing. Well, Jonah, I could talk to you all day. I'm sure we do. Absolutely. Anyway. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But no, I really appreciate you joining me. And if anyone ever has any questions, I suppose contact fitmedia Instagram. Happy with that?
Yeah, feel free to search my name on any social media platform. Send me a message. I'm sure you'll soon enough find the Fit Media website. We offer a free strategy call on the site if you want to talk in depth about anything. But yeah, I've got nothing to sell, nothing for you to sign up to, honestly. But if you do want to chat to me at all about, if you do want to chat to me at all, then I'd be more than happy to. And all you need to do is just search my name on your preferred social media platform, and you should find me. So
yeah, and he has to keep to that as well, because this is recorded, so he can't go back on his word.
Yeah. Yeah, if I do try and sell you stuff, then call me out on
it. No, Jonah, really appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much for joining me. And guys, thank you very much for listening.